UFC 248 Adesanya vs Romero is in the books. In this video, we're going to be going over results, post-fight interviews from the fighters, also including the boss man Dana White, and some reactions to the main event. But first, let's get right into the numbers. The gate was about $2.7 million, attendance was 15,000. Fight of the night went to the co-main event Weili vs Joanna. Performances of the night went to Beneil Dariush and Sugar Sean O'Malley. Now let's get right into the main event. Israel Adesanya defeated Yoel Romero via unanimous decision. It was a complete polar opposite fight in comparison to the co-main event. This fight was way slower and more like a chess match. Afterwards, in his Octagon post-fight interview, Yoel blamed Israel for the fight not being exciting. He told Joe Rogan, "People bought the pay-per-view to see a real fight, not this. You need to have respect for people. People paid for a pay-per-view. For what? For a fight." A frustrated Israel Adesanya said in a backstage interview that his dance partner just did not want to dance. He also points out that he damaged Romero's legs, and that's what led to his victory.
Because after the fight, I was really frustrated that my dance partner didn't want to dance. You look at a guy like Kelvin Gastelum, he brought the fight. Robert Whitaker, he brought the fight. It takes two to tango, so if I'm trying to fight and you're just standing there going, come on, come on, come on, that's silly. I mean, I took his best shot in the first round. That might be the only round I gave him. And you look, he has a good poker face. He's playing like, oh yeah, I'm not hurt, but the legs didn't lie. I f***ed his legs up.
Dana White, speaking in the post-fight press conference, blames Yoel Romero for how the fight turned out. Dana said that he looked terrible out there. Dana goes on to say that he sees no path back to the title for Yoel if he's going to continue fighting like he did tonight.
Yeah, I feel like Yoel Romero, he literally went out and stood in the middle of, when the bell rang in the first round, just stood there with his hands up. You're going in and facing the world champion. This is your last shot at a championship. You shouldn't even be here getting this title fight. It should be Paulo Costa. If he didn't get hurt, you don't even get this opportunity. You go in and you do everything you can to win that fight. He literally did none of that. A path back to the title after that performance, you're crazy even asking that question right now. He looked terrible tonight. He looked terrible. He literally gave up an opportunity tonight. Maybe he comes back in his next fight and looks like Yoel Romero. But if he doesn't, I wouldn't expect him to fight another 10 years looking like that.
Here's how some UFC fighters reacted to the main event. Dominic Cruz is happy with the decision. He tweeted, "Adesanya fought like a champion, exactly the way he had to. You have to decisively beat the champ. Counterfighter versus counterfighter is the toughest chess match in my opinion. Respect to both, I love watching the highest level of MMA." Rafael dos Anjos disagrees with the decision. He tweeted, "Not even Adesanya believed he won. I had Romero all the way." Justin Gaethje says he had it 4-1 for Yoel Romero. Aljamain Sterling also disagrees with the decision. He says, "I love Izzy, but in my honest opinion, Romero won that due to the extreme activity on both parties, but Romero doing slightly more." Aljamain Sterling does go on to explain his reasonings. He responded to another Twitter user. Mark Serrels wrote, "In what ways did he do more? He threw less strikes and landed less strikes." Aljo wrote, "Are you counting total strikes? Because that is not how a fight is scored, my friend. Izzy did most of his leg kick damage in rounds 4 and 5. Ben Askren hated the main event. He tweeted, "Just terrible. At least we had Weili vs Joanna." Paulo Costa was front row for the fight and was not afraid to share his thoughts about Israel Adesanya. Here's a clip.
This guy is so afraid. Get out of there. Get out of there, man. I'm ready.
Moving on to the co-main event, Zhang Weili defeated Joanna via split decision, 48-47, 47-48, and 48-47. The two fighters gave it their all and delivered arguably the greatest fight in women's MMA history. Here's a clip of several fighters in attendance and the fans giving a standing ovation for the two of them. Now, one massive thing that stood out, especially after the fight, was the giant hematoma that completely restructured Joanna's forehead. Both fighters were transported to the hospital and they were both discharged with no significant injuries. Here's a picture of Joanna at the hospital after being treated by the doctors. Beneil Dariush defeated Drakkar Klose via knockout in the second round. Klose went in for the finish, but Dariush caught him and turned the fight around with a beautiful knockout that made DC, Anik, and Rogan lose their minds. Speaking backstage, Dariush talks about he was leaning towards retirement, but then went on a 4-5 win streak which changed his mind.
losses not really, but with the injuries, I did contemplate retirement because the way my neck was, it was really affecting the way I fight. I didn't really have much I could do. I couldn't train well, so I did contemplate retirement, and to be here now, it's crazy. 4-fight win streak, three finishes. I don't know, man. I thank God every day for this.
Neil Magny defeated Li Jingliang via unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. Speaking backstage, Magny talks about his return to his division and calls out Michael Chiesa for his next fight.
Oh yeah, I didn't miss any time off. I mean, the division's been shaken up quite a bit since I've been gone, but as I showed tonight, I feel I can jump back in there with the best of any of them. So to jump back in there against a guy like Mike Chiesa would be great. Oh, Neil Magny's back, baby. Better than ever. Neil Magny's back.
Michael Chiesa did respond to Neil Magny's call out on Twitter with Amen. Alex Oliveira defeated Max Griffin via split decision, 29-28, 28-29, and 29-28. After the fight, Oliveira gave Donald Cerrone one of the feathers he was wearing on his hat to him as a sign of respect.
Hundreds of neighborhood locations throughout Southern Nevada. Find a ticket seller in a red shirt or visit one of the kiosks in Section 7 or 13 on the main concourse or Sections 207.
Sean O'Malley defeated Jose Quinones via TKO in the very first round. Speaking backstage, O'Malley talks about Dana White, the UFC, and the finish.
I remember being before the Contender Series, they were asking me stuff, and I said, I don't know, I have that thing, that it thing. I know I have it, I don't know what it is. No one can really put a finger on what it is. Dana knows I have it, UFC knows I have it. They stuck with me. They very well could have cut me. They obviously believe in me as much as I believe in myself, so it's very cool to be able to work with a company like that. I'm going to go through some wars in my career, and I know that, and I need to be thankful for these fights. You're not going to get a first round quick finish every fight, so I'm glad I'm healthy.